And now, a word from
Infirmary Media.
It's time for Blumpkin and Friends, starring your host, the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
Hey kids, I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin. And I'm all by myself. It's the holiday season, it's harder to find time to record, it's harder to get guests that have time to record with me. So what I'm going to do is something a little lazy, but also special. A few episodes ago I rehashed part of an old episode of It Radio from 10 years ago. It ain't the only time I'm ever going to do that. But what I want to do is bring to you an entire episode from the What Do We Call It podcast. It was a show that was started with me and another guy. It was more about the news and critiquing the news and just riffing on it. And when we were doing it, I told him we need to have episodes where we just expose our personalities. He wasn't as keen on that as I was. And what I realized while I was doing these other funnier episodes that were nothing like the other shit that we did is that this is like a totally different show. And that's what led me to start Blumpkin and Friends. Now, there was the Poop Chronicles 1, and it was before I figured out the audio recording, unfortunately. So, it sounds like shit. So I'm going to take the Poop Chronicles 1, and I'm chopping them up, and I'm going to do them as bits here and there. So what you're going to hear today is the bulk of the Poop Chronicles 2, with me and Neil. And there's not going to be a game, and there's not going to be any skits. It's just going to be me ranting about poop-related stories from my life. So without further ado, the Poop Chronicles 2. When we did the Poop Chronicles, he's like, so are you going to make this an ongoing bit or something? Like, no, it's to hammer out all the stories right now. He's like, oh shit. Like, he didn't realize how many I had, or he must have thought it was going to be super long. But we got the majority of the stories that I could think of at the time out of there on the Poop Chronicles 1. Well, it turns out I've had a number of weeks now to sit down. I've had probably 10 or 11 weeks to sit here and think about other stuff, and they just kind of randomly came to me. Like, when you joke about poop as much as I do or have as many poop-related stories, I even forget shit, and people have to remind me. So what I've got now, welcome to the Poop Chronicles 2. I've got more poop stories. And Neil has no idea what any of these are. So I'm going basically, his input is going to be shock value to see how entertaining it is when I tell him some of these. So, I mean, like I guess you could call it fecalphilia. I'm somewhat poop obsessed. As, essenced by the other episode, the Poop Chronicles 1. I have a long-standing love affair with all things poo. It's funny to me. So, like my old dog, Jacques, we've talked about, the dog whose penis you flicked, you dirty dog penis flicker. Jacques was an asshole. So whenever he would poop in the house, he happened to do it in the middle of the living room. And my parents' house is 4 levels. And the living room, you come in the house, and it's right there on the left. It's a room we almost never use.
Because he was he would do it because he was pissed off mostly, or?
I don't know. If he didn't get out in time, that was just the room where he did it.
Yeah.
And there's like a big fancy sectional couch, and my mom swears is just like new, but it looks like it's from the 1970s because it's from the fucking 1970s. We don't go in that room unless it's like a family holiday like Christmas, and maybe Easter to take a few photos sitting on the couch with the kids. Otherwise, we don't use it. You're not supposed to go in there. Nobody sits in there. I don't know anybody else that has a room in their house that they purposely never use and get pissed off that if people go into.
At least there's not plastic on the couch.
Yeah, that's like the only caveat is that she hasn't saran wrapped the fucking furniture. So Jacques was a little toy French poodle. Little dog, black dog, not like a purse dog. Annoying little yippy prick. And he was possessive. But he'd always poop right in the middle of that room.
Yeah.
So you'd be walking by and you just see it out of your peripheral. You'd see like this little log cabin stack of turds that he dropped right there in the middle. So to play a prank on my mom, and I played pranks on her for as long as I could remember, I took Tootsie Rolls, not the little individual ones.
Yeah,
but the ones that are the next size up, that are like human finger size. I took a few of those and I set them in the middle of the room, and we left and we came back, and I wherever we went, I had the whole trip there just wringing my fucking hands like Mr. Burns, excited that we were gonna pull this off. So we get home and I walk by and I'm like, still there, obviously. I don't know why it wouldn't be. And so I go down to the bathroom and she's like, "Oh, come here. Jacques shit in the house again." I'm like, "No, he didn't." "Yes, he did. It's right there. Go look." So I walked into the living room and I walked up. I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "What?" And I got down. She's like, "Don't." I'm like, I don't know if I'm still convinced. She's like, "That's gross. Just clean it up." I'm like, "Well, hey, what?" And I picked one up. I'm like, she's like, "Oh my, put that down. That's disgusting." And I took a bite out of it. I'm like, "That is shit. Yeah, no, you're right. That is shit." She's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I'm like, "It's candy, bitch." I know it's not the best starter story for this episode, but I thought of it the other day. I'm like, that's right.
How old were you when this happened?
Somewhere between 12 and 15.
Okay.
So she should have expected it.
Yeah.
But I did it, and I thought it was a pretty good one. I could have tried it again on my dad, but she told him about it. I think when I first realized that poop was the most hilarious thing to me ever was 3rd grade.
Okay.
Do you remember anything particular that might have happened to me in 3rd grade as to why?
Did it involve a school bathroom?
No.
Okay, then never.
But you're on the right track.
Okay.
So, kids, here's a tip. Never shit your pants at school.
Yeah.
Because everyone will remember it forever. And this happened in 3rd grade, and I can remember when we were in 9th grade and we were off, most of the same kids all going for confirmation. So we had to go to this like 2-day retreat. And we're sitting there, and one of the kids is like, "Hey, remember in 3rd grade when so-and-so shit his pants?" I'm like, "No, I forgot about a kid who shit his pants in school 6 years ago, you idiot." So here's the setup. This was 1990. I was in Miss North's class at Epiphany Catholic School. I won't say the name of my friend who shit his pants, but his name rhymes with Poe Jiper.
All right.
Don't want to throw him under the bus. We're sitting there in art class, and apparently he went and asked our teacher if he could go to the bathroom because he really had to go. He had been sick or something. And she told him no. So he was sitting there, and a short time later, people were like making comments about the smell. And we're like, "What?" And I walked over them. I'm like, "Oh my God, it smells awful." So it was like a big deal. It's because I'm an asshole and I didn't have any social tact at the time. I didn't understand that he's my friend, that I should try to downplay it for his own emotional safety. So I just remember he's wearing like royal blue colored sweatpants.
Okay.
Sweatpants are like one of the worst garments to have on if you're going to shit yourself.
Yes.
He didn't just shit himself. Because after art class was gym class. So we got up and it was time to go. And somebody said something like, "Oh, so-and-so pooped his pants." I'm like, "Nah." And I went over there and I looked. And there was this moist, almost like cheesecloth pattern of brown water on his seat. He didn't just shit his pants,
liquid.
dude. He got diarrhea in his pants. And he had on fucking sweatpants. So he had this big wet spot in the back of his goddamn sweatpants. And being the asshole that I was, and he was my friend. That's the worst part about this story, is he was one of my best friends. And I think I figured out why he secretly hated me. And I joked about him, like, "Oh, I pooped your pants, did you? Huh? A little accident?" And he's like, "Shut up." And the teacher got like super pissed and told us not to make fun of him.
Yeah.
Because she felt bad that it was, it was her fucking fault.
Which, when the teachers tell you that, it just makes you want to make fun of them more.
Yes, exactly. Or find ways of making fun of them that she can't detect right away. But he wouldn't have shit his pants. This entire legacy of him shitting his pants, it falls upon Miss North's head because she said, no, you can't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
What a bitch. How do you do that to a kid? Did you really think he was going to go in there? And like, we're 9 years old. What the fuck could he possibly get into?
Yeah.
The bathroom is across the library and 2 doors down. It's about 100 feet. But it happened. So then we're walking to gym class, and I'm in the back of the line because I want to see as many views of the wet spot on the back of his sweatpants as possible. And we get there, and she explained it to the gym teacher, who said that nobody better say anything about it. So I got in trouble for talking about it some more.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there on the gym floor, and to make him feel better, she sat next to him because nobody wanted to sit next to him because of the poop stink.
Yep.
So she's sitting there, and then we got up for whatever activity we were doing. And then I looked, and I went over there. I'm like, oh, my God, I think there's still a stain on the floor from it. I just would not let it go.
Yeah.
And that is the kind of thing that turns somebody into a Columbine killer. I'm fairly convinced that if it would have had like as much of a over-dramatized gun culture back then, he might have taken his dad's gun and shot me in the face. And I would have deserved it because I was a merciless prick about him shitting his pants.
Possibly.
Did anybody, when you were going to school growing up, ever do anything like that?
Not that I can remember. I mean, I don't recall anybody shitting themselves.
Well,
like
you
that.
don't forget something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, my brother mooned his second grade class and got in trouble for it when the teacher went out.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah, so here it is 25 years later, and I'm still talking about it.
Yeah.
And if I met him, I'd say hi to him. Like, if I ran into him again, I'd be like, dude, how's it going? I got to believe in the back of his mind, he's thinking, God, I hope he doesn't bring up when I shit my pants in 3rd grade. I don't know. Maybe he's not as fixated on it now as I am still. But that, if all the stories about him that I remember, you know, there's another story where he was running down the hall after something, and another kid stuck his foot out and kicked his left foot behind his right foot.
Yeah.
So it made him trip.
Yep.
And he caught air, landed on his chest, and skidded down the hall like 5 feet like a slip and slide. It didn't hurt like hell, but I laughed like, you don't expect something like that, even when it's your friend. And he thought I was a dick for that. Another semi-poop related story about elementary school. So we had this janitor named Brett, who was a little retarded. We used to fuck with him all the time. Like, he would vacuum after hours, and there'd be people hanging out for like sports, like basketball and band and shit like that. So he had the cord to the vacuum attached to like a 90-foot extension cord.
Right.
He'd plug it in and go around the corner and down the hall into a classroom. Classic mistake when you don't want kids to fuck with you. So one of the older kids showed me, like, hey, check this out. They unplugged it. And down the hall you hear, plug it back in! Because he fucking kind of sounded like Sloth from Goonies. So we kept doing it to fuck with him, like intermittently. We'd unplug it, plug it back in, and you just hear, God damn it! Keep in mind, I went to Catholic school. So then he started kind of mixing them. Plug it back in, God damn it, you motherfucker! And once I knew that you could get to him that way, like, people would fuck with him all the time. Like, they'd invite him to come sit with the popular kids at lunch. Like, we treated him pretty good, but we'd still fuck with him. I guess that's the yin and the yang of having a retarded janitor, is you know that you can fuck with him.
Yeah.
But if you treat him cool, he'll forget about it. So there was a time when I was walking in between classes, and he, like, walks up, and he just opens a locker. And he's digging through this kid's backpack. I'm like, Brett, stop stealing my stuff. He's like, fuck you. And then he walks away. So that's leading up to the poop part of the story. There's a time when I went to the bathroom during history class. Mr. Hagedorn, one of the greatest teachers I ever had. And I walk in there, and I recognize the shoes under the stall. It's Brett. I was in there to take a piss.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, Brett, you going poop? He's like, fuck you. He's always, I don't know why, but he was always swearing. So I did my business. I'm like, Brett, you got enough toilet paper? You need a help in there? You need a wipe? He's like, fuck you, get out of here. So I go to leave, and I pulled the door open, and then I let it close, but I didn't leave. I made him think that I left, so I waited a few seconds. And then I flicked the lights on and off. He's like, turn it back on! So I'm like, I can't just do this once. I did it again. I flicked it off, and then on and off and on. He's like, turn it back on, goddammit! So I sat there. I'm like, okay, Brett, I'm just messing with you. Settle down. I opened the door. I let it close again. I flicked it on and off. He's like, God damn it, turn it back on! So I opened the door. I'm like, okay, Brett, I'm going back to class. Have a good day. And I shut the light off, and I laughed on him. And And then I just hear I'm going down the hall. I just hear turn it back on, goddamn you! The bathroom. Here's the bathroom. You go through one door, and there's ahead of you is the door to the bathroom. There's 2 doors.
Oh yeah.
Big wooden ones with vents in the bottom for sound and air ventilation.
Yep.
It takes a lot to make sound go through those. And next to it so you go in straight's the door to the bathroom, to the right's the boys' locker room. So this was going from across 25 feet of bathroom, through 2 doors, down the hall another 20 feet, around a corner, and down 50 more feet. You can hear him. Turn it back on, goddamn you! Bless his heart, he died of cancer. Yeah. Tell me there's a God.
It wasn't ass cancer, though.
It was not ass cancer. I don't know what kind of cancer it was, but he fucking had cancer. Another kid that went to school with me, like later on when we were in high school, he ended up going to Anoka and I went to Tino. So me and another friend, who we called Nani. So me and Nani, the one that dated Alicia. Remember him?
Kind of.
Okay, so me and Nani and this other kid, Matt. Matt told me about a time he went in the bathroom and Brett wasn't just in there taking a shit. He said Brett was sitting Indian style on the stall floor jerking off. So Matt apparently never told staff, because if they would have, I'm pretty sure they would have not let him work there anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised they let him work there as long as he did. He must have done a really awesome job, or his dad pulled some strings, because, I mean, we fucked with him so much.
Yeah.
But he always had this weird, goofy smile on his face. It is the damnedest thing. On my other show, Blumpkin and Friends, my persona name is the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin. I took that name because years ago I started a punk band, unsuccessfully. You came with me. Remember when I put out the ad on Craigslist and I got a couple of hits for some people, and then we went down to the Hard Rock across the street from First Ave, and we stood outside and I had a piece of cardboard with like marker that said band. And people met us there, and so that was the band. The band's name was Blumpkin. So I was always Johnny Blumpkin, but later on I joined the Universal Life Church online and I became an ordained minister. So at that point, that was like a year or 2 after I learned what a Blumpkin is. If you don't know what a Blumpkin is by now, it's when you get a blowjob when you're on the toilet. You remember my ex who lived with me in the apartment first?
Yeah.
Who also was a drinker. I'm not going to say her name, out of respect. So a couple times when I always knew that when she got really sloppy drunk, I could talk her into stuff.
Yeah.
So one time I was sitting in the bathroom taking a shit, and she came in and she was like crawling around on all fours, just giggly, retarded drunk. And she's like, "Are you almost done? Let's have sex." I'm like, "Well, why wait? We're right here." I'm like, "You know what you should do? You should totally give me a Blumpkin." She's like, "What?" I'm like, I already pooed, but like, I'm going to be Johnny Blumpkin. I should have a Blumpkin. Like, that's my thing, right? Isn't that weird that I am Johnny Blumpkin, but I've never had a Blumpkin? And I'm trying to barter with a drunken girl who was she like 22 at the time? So she's like, "Well, why do you want it?" I'm like, "I just feel like I should have it. I think it may be really, what if it's weird and it's really sexy?" Like, I could always say that I have the coolest girlfriend. I tried to butter her up with that shit. So she's like, "Okay, well, I guess." And she starts like sauntering over. Now, she slowly turtle crawled the 2 feet over to me, and she puts her hands on my knees while I'm on the toilet.
Yeah.
And she starts going for it, right? And she gets about a foot away from my dick, and then she pulls back. She's like, "Wait a minute, are you going to tell people about this?" "You fucker, I'm not going to do that." So that story is the almost Blumpkin. I know it's a shorty, but you got to throw in some other ones. My grandmother, God rest her soul, died face down in her dinner plate. Spilled her coffee after she had a massive heart attack. In her later years, did not have the greatest control over her bowels.
Yeah.
So, you know how sometimes old people like shit on the back of the seat a little? Well, this must have been Christmas Eve 2003 or 4.
Yep.
And I had left to go do something, like go to a movie. And when I came back, my dad's like, "So you don't use the downstairs bathroom because the floor is wet because I had to clean it up." I'm like, "Why?" "Well, your grandma had an accident." This is kind of like the story with my mom puking and shitting.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "Just don't fucking talk. Don't make a big deal out of it."
I think
Which, again...
Actually, I was with you when this happened because I remember this.
So he told me that my grandma had to take a shit and she got sick. I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Well, she didn't quite make it." I'm like, "What? So she like pooped in her pants?" "Well, not exactly." "What, she like spackled the bowl and you had to clean the bathroom down?" "Kind of." I'm like, "Wait a minute. Did she shit all over the..." He's like, "Your grandmother shit all over the seat and it kind of splattered and got on the floor and the wall." They have wallpaper. All right, so at some point you could probably go and use a luminol kit and swab the wallpaper next to the toilet, and there's still fecal DNA from my grandmother from 12 years ago. So the poor woman was so embarrassed that she shit over the side of the toilet a little that my dad had to help her clean up, and then she took a shower, and then she had to go home. So Christmas Eve was ruined because she had just rocket diarrhea, and it got a little bit of everywhere. Anything you'd like to share about any old people you know that may have shit on the toilet?
No, but I thought that there was some similar circumstance to that where I was with you and that we had to leave, or we left because there was some sort of accident with your grandma.
It happened more than once.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Poor Grammy.
Because we had just got back from somewhere and it was your dad kind of shoved us off because she was really embarrassed.
Well, I don't know how you wouldn't be if you're like a 70-something-year-old person and you shit over the side of the toilet like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell he cleaned it up without gagging.
It's so much easier if you have a piss problem and you just piss on the side of the toilet to clean it up yourself, but shit is just so much worse.
All the apologies of the world aren't going to make up for the fact that there's shit on the wallpaper. This next story is probably going to test the limits of good taste. Okay. And so we've talked about my poop obsession.
Yep.
In episode 3 of Blumpkin and Friends, I talked about my food addiction.
Yeah.
And that I've eaten in the bathroom before. I can't remember how old I was. I must have been 10. So we had Jacques.
Yep.
And Jacques loved chips. Like plain, regular potato chip.
Okay.
I took a bag of chips into the bathroom. Because I had to take a shit, but I was also hungry. Once again, digestive equilibrium. And I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to open the bag, right?
Yeah.
And you can't just like rip it like a pack of fruit snacks. You got to pull at the top at the seams. So I'm pulling and I'm pulling and I'm not paying attention to how hard I'm pulling, and I open it and it shoots open and chips go everywhere. I was about up to the wiping phase. So I'm trying to clean the chips up, and Jacques had come in and he's trying to eat them. Like, get off the fucking chips, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to put them back in the bag, and as I'm cleaning, I'm eating, he's eating, and there's some outside of the reach of where I can get while I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea where this might be going?
You got up to reach for them?
So I got up to reach for the other chips. And I had to, I knelt down on all fours to do it because I didn't want to get shit anywhere. So as I'm doing that, Jacques walks up behind me and he started licking my asshole. Everybody knows that dogs like to eat their own shit.
Yeah.
I would never have fathomed that he liked to eat human shit. And he licked my ass. Like, the first lick, I'm like, what the? And then I realized, I'm like, get the fuck off me! I don't know how my dad didn't come running. So he licked my ass, and I was just like, oh my God, that's so messed up. Why would he do that? Is he hungry, or does he like shit?
I don't know.
So I got the chips cleaned up, and I set the bag on the counter, and I washed my hands, and I was going to wipe, and I sat down. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I wonder. So I whistled for the dog to come back. I'm like, there's no way. That had to just be a freak thing. There's no way that this could just happen on command. So I got up and I turned around, I waggled my ass in his face, and he went sniffing and he licked my butt cheek again. So I don't want to say that I'm into bestiality, but I may have been an involuntary participant in a sex act with an animal when I was 10 years old, all because of my snacking habits. If I wouldn't have been a fat fuck and brought chips into the bathroom, I never would have had my dog lick my asshole.
Yeah, and then I'm sure he ran over and licked someone's face.
He might have. I don't know. I mean, dogs are always licking their assholes and their balls anyway. That's why I don't want a dog to kiss my face. But I never in a million years would have thought that he was going to go for the milk dud.
That's strange. I don't know.
That's not strange. That's a special bond.
Yeah.
So when it was time to put him down, I almost took him to the vet. I was like, he's my dog, Paul. He's mine. I should do it. Like Old Yeller.
Once more for old times.
Yeah. All right, boy. You're going to heaven soon, so before you cross the Rainbow Bridge, let's go ahead and let you get a little bit of a snack.
You're going to be licking God's ass soon.
I got to think that I'm the only person that ever had that happen. Have you ever brought food into the bathroom to eat?
No.
Never?
I'm a quick pooper. I'm kind of in and out. It doesn't take me that long.
Well, I'm not saying I sit in there for like 45 minutes, but
I never
been like, fuck, I really want this candy bar, but I got to shit.
No, never.
Because I've eaten entire meals in the bathroom. I've taken a pork chop dinner and put the plate on my lap and sat there and ate while I was shitting. And it was delicious. The broccoli florets that night were excellent. And that will lead us to the final story, which is from February 21st, 2013, I believe. Or maybe it was the 22nd. The point is, this is the day that we brought home my youngest from the hospital. And now I'm out of beverage. The turtle cup is empty. We're leaving the hospital. And these days, they don't just write the kid's name on a little square at the end of the bed for you.
Okay.
The second that kid comes out, they put a fucking magnetic security bracelet around their wrist like they're a fucking high-buck electronic item at Best Buy.
Uh-huh.
That's what they do. They tag the kids for you.
Yeah.
So that if they try to leave the maternity ward with the kid, it sets off a security buzzer and every camera hones in on there and they know somebody's trying to steal a baby. And if you try to tamper with it, it goes off.
Okay.
So it takes forever to leave the hospital with a baby. And I don't remember if I was feeling ill or what the hell the deal was, but after about an hour and a half of discharge effort of getting the papers and the birth certificate footprint thingy and the tags taken off, and we get her in the carrier to put her in the car to go home, we go downstairs. And I have my ex wait in the front doorway with my daughter, and I go out to warm up the car.
Yeah.
So I let it warm up for a few minutes. I pulled it up around front and loaded her in. I'm like, oh, God. Like, I got the death gurgle. Like, I'm like, uh-oh, fuck. I only live 3 miles from the hospital. But because I had already experienced the 24-year-old Timberwolves overtime shit and a few other close shaves, I was like, fuck this. I went back and I got my parking spot again. And she's like, where are you going? I'm like, I am not going to make it. I'm going to get diarrhea or something. I go back into the hospital. Then there's the main entryway lobby area with the guest services desk and all that shit. Well, there's 2 bathrooms right by the chapel around the corner to the right.
Yep.
The first door, I knock and somebody's in there. The second one, I walk over to it and I try to jiggle the handle and I knock. I thought I heard somebody.
Yeah.
So I didn't try the handle again and I'm standing there. Well, the second person leaves. So before I can go to the other bathroom, somebody else comes and fucking swoops right. I'm like, no, oh god damn it. It got so close.
Yeah.
Like I was almost prairie dogging. And I thought I was going to shit my pants at the hospital and have to just like leave my underwear in the bathroom at Mercy Hospital. So I'm standing there and like another 3 minutes go by. And at this point I'm sweating. Like I started fucking sweating with panic and the effort it took to hold my butt cheeks together to keep it in. I reached for the handle again just to double check. It's been open and unoccupied the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
I walked in there. I turn around to lock the door. There's no lock mechanism. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm undoing my pants and I'm backing up to the toilet.
Yep.
While I'm looking for a lock somewhere. And I sit down and it just, oh my God, it was like the bombings in Nagasaki. My asshole went off.
Yeah.
Nuclear diarrhea. And I'm sitting there and I'm like taking toilet paper and wiping the sweat from my forehead. It was fucking awful. And then I see this little thing on the door, this little button that says push button to lock door.
For the handicapped.
Yeah. So I hit it. I didn't hear anything. I hit it again and I hit it again. I don't hear it lock. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I'm wiping. And it smelled fucking awful. I felt horrible for the other person that had to come in after me. And then I had spackled the bowl. So it just looked like an art project.
Yeah.
And I washed my hands. And as I'm toweling my hands off, somebody walks in the door. It hadn't even fucking been locked. Somebody could have walked in while I was dying on the job.
Well, I mean, I would rather have somebody walk in on me, you know, having diarrhea in the shitter than fucking me holding it and shitting my pants.
Touché. So I leave, and they're just like, oh, sorry. And I leave, and I'm just like, sorry about that. I couldn't figure out how to lock the door. There's a button on the wall, but I don't think it works. Like, oh, okay. I'm pretty sure it was a lady, too.
Yeah.
I leave, and I'm just like cackling to myself. Like, I felt awful, but I was also giggling at this lady who was going to go in there and have to breathe that rarefied air of the horrible shit that I had just taken. We get out to the car. It had been close to 10 minutes between the waiting for the bathroom and the actual action.
Yeah.
And here's my ex. Jesus Christ, did you fucking die in there? I'm like, you would not believe that I almost just shit my pants. She's like, actually, I know you, so I would believe. So I had to tell the fucking story to my ex, and she's laughing like, it's not fucking funny. I almost got diarrhea in my pants. Well, what would I have done? Stood there with shit in my pants, waiting for the bathroom to open up just so I could like throw them away and hopefully clean up enough to get home quick and take a shower? Because my mind went back to the Poe Jiper shit.
Yep.
A horrible time of disguising his name. So when Mr. Jiper pooped his pants in 3rd grade, every time there's an instance where I almost shit my pants, I almost feel like it's karma getting back at me.
Yeah.
For revisiting the time when he shit his pants in art class. Oh, I've had so many brushes with it. And like I've said time and time again, you can hold a shit for so long before your bowels give way.
Yeah.
And have you ever held a shit so long you had a painful stabbing in your taint?
Yep.
You're doing damage to your perineum and probably your
prostate.
When you do that. So I'm sure I fucked some stuff up.
Oh yeah.
From doing that. And this was no different. This was awful. So, once again, I've shared a number of poop stories, and now I'm going to turn the mic over to you, and you better tell me something funny.
Well, I had a really close call in a similar situation. Basically, there's a Randy's sanitation place down the road from where I live.
Okay.
And my parents wanted me to pick up some of those. They're like these bags for the organic recycling crap.
Oh, like the paper bags?
Well, they're these weird specialized plastic, or they're degradable, but it's for the organic recycling. So mostly for like fruit and bread, basically anything that's biodegradable. They have this weird organic recycling thing, but you got to buy those bags. And my dad, since it's right down the street from me, he's like, "Well, can you pick up some of those before you head into work?" And basically, I started feeling like I needed to shit. Didn't think anything of it. Just it's like, okay, I'll just take a shit later, when I get into work. And so I go and I pick up the bags, and as soon as I start leaving this the Randy's, I feel it. Like, I'm like, holy shit, I got to get home now. And I was so lucky that I actually stopped there first, because it takes me about 20 to 30 minutes to get into work. And that place is literally just like 3 to 5 minutes away. And I hauled ass as fast as I possibly could to get home. And, I just opened the garage doors, left, throw the car in park, and just run straight up there and just yank down the pants and just explode.
Did you have to go upstairs?
Yes.
That
sucked.
Horrible.
That sucks. There's no, because of where the garage is and the bathroom's upstairs.
How many steps?
It's quite a bit. It's, I don't know.
Guesstimate.
Well, it's a 9-foot high ceiling on the bottom floor, so.
Fuck.
I mean, I don't know if that's
probably 18 steps.
Yeah.
So if you're ever in a situation where you need to go upstairs and you're holding a shit in, here's what you need to do. You need to clench your butt. You need to bunny hop. Both feet at the same time up every step. Don't try to open your legs up and go up steps like you normally would. You're going to end up almost having an accident. It's going to be a photo finish.
I don't know. It's I've figured out that little seizures is one of my triggers now, and I can't eat them anymore. Yeah. I don't know what it is, if it's something in their bread or in the cheese. I don't think it's the cheese, but it's...
Well, it shouldn't be the cheese. Cheese and bread will bind you up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, unless it's all the butter that they butter the crust with, but it's just pepperoni, getting the $5 pepperoni, single topping.
I don't eat the crust. I
don't know. It might be the crust, or just because they put so much butter on it or what, but...
Papa Murphy's does that to me.
Oh, that doesn't do anything to me. I don't know. It's really strange.
Dude, there's the super pepperoni pizza with like the 80 pepperonis on it.
Yeah.
All that pepperoni grease.
That'll do it.
You're pretty much lubing up everything inside of you to rock it out of you later.
Yeah. Well, I don't eat that from there, but I don't know. Little Caesars every single time. The last 5 times I've gone there. Because I thought first couple times you think it's a fluke. Then the next couple times you're like, okay, maybe there's something here. And then finally that 5th time I'm like, fuck this place. $5 hot and ready is not worth it for me. Hot and ready, it has a whole nother meaning.
Yeah. Well, touche. You know what used to get me really bad is my dad would buy Hamburger Helper and the 4-cheese lasagna.
Yeah.
And I have like a thing with milk and lactose.
Okay.
So I'd eat that, right? And be extra cheesy. That, if I knew I wanted to have diarrhea to kind of like
cleanse.
Do a cleanse and detoxify and lose 3 pounds in the process, I would eat the living bejesus out of that shit.
Yeah.
And it would get me every fucking time. Every time. And it would be one of those things where you shit so hard that you have what I like to call an assgasm.
Yeah.
You know, if you poop too hard, that afterwards your butthole kind of tingles and you feel like you shouldn't be sitting down, like your asshole's exhausted from the whole experience.
Yeah.
That's what an assgasm
You can't.
is.
You don't even want to sit because it's like you want to sit.
You almost want to go
shit.
take a nap.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, that took a lot. I don't want to compare it to childbirth because I've never had a shit so big that I had an accidental episiotomy and my ass tore. But I've had some poops that were so thick that I was sitting on the toilet agonizing over the fact that I knew that it was going to come out and hurt.
Yep.
And it was too big for my asshole, but it had to come out.
Yeah.
So you sit there and you kind of half hold it in, you let it start to come out, and it hurts, and you kind of clench back up, and it goes back in. You sit there and you play tug of war with your common sense, and finally you're just like, all right, I'm just going to do it. And you try to squeeze your butt cheeks so that when it comes out, it compresses it like a Play-Doh Fun Factory. Yeah, that's oh God.
No, but the one thing that can make your day, if you're having a shitty day, I mean, no pun intended, the one thing that can make it better is when you what my friend calls the ghost wipe, and everybody has their own name for it. Basically, when you go down, you're taking a powerful shit, and you just wipe, and there's literally nothing on there, and you're like, yeah, maybe it was just a fluke. Wipe once more just to check, and there's nothing on there. Instantly makes your day better.
I don't know if it makes my day better. It makes my day easier.
Well, I mean, it's if you look at the little things, at least you know you have a clean asshole for the day.
Well, for that time period. Well, if you fart as much as I do, you wipe your ass every time you go to the bathroom, and you call it the safety wipe, especially in the summer months.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't get swamp ass that much. I mean, as some people we know.
Fat people and people with extra hairy butt cracks, it's got to be awful. But like this guy that I worked with at Menards, and he always had plumber's crack. The dude had like a Chewbacca ass crack. I walked by him one time, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something dark on the back of his pants. And I looked down, I'm like,
It's hair.
Yes. Dude, he had like as thick as your mustache down the crack of his ass. I don't know how you ever get that thing clean. But you ever just wipe your ass and then clearly you have to check the paper to see how much is on there to know how many more wipes you need.
Yep.
You ever smell the toilet paper?
No. No. I know what shit smells like. I don't need to double check it.
But what if you ate something really unique? What if the shit smell is so weird you just want to like...
I don't know. Never taken a whiff of it.
I'm not gonna lie. I've done that before. You get a really greasy one and you're like, it smells like food. And then it's like you take that wipe and then you smell the toilet paper. Not like right up in my face, like like somebody with a foot fetish.
Not like a Prius owner.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I know it's South Park episode when they love the smell of their own farts. So I'll smell and I'll try to guess what it is that I ate had just come out of me.
Yeah.
It's just you gotta break up the monotony of the day, and sometimes I do that. I'm not proud of it, but you know what? I don't think so cool of myself that I can't throw myself under the bus for comedic effect. I don't need to pretend to be a tough guy or I'm awesome all the time. I'm more than happy making myself look like a fool because we all have weird quirks. And if you admit weird shit, maybe other people will admit weird shit. And that right there, that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Sometimes smell the toilet paper off the first wipe. So that's going to wrap it up for the Poop Chronicles 2. I can't imagine there'll ever be a Poop Chronicles 3. I don't want to say never, but I can't imagine there's any other poop stories I've forgotten outside of those. Interact with the show on Twitter at Blumpkin Show. That is at Blumpkin Show. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Blumpkin and friends. We are on iTunes and at blumpkinshow.podbean.com. For original songs, go to soundcloud.com/BlumpkinMusic. And for other shows from our network, go to infirmary.org. I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin. Good night.
I'm in the bathroom, so this message is probably going to sound like shit.